There is the industrial strength, whatever, the bed frame that claims it requires no tools to put together. That, of course, I don't know how to put together. I took it all out. My mom needs to find somebody. If church guys don't want to do it, offer to pay them, okay? Seriously, offer to pay them. Look at this. I'm not good at shit like this. You know what I mean? Congratulations, you have assembled your extra duty, heavy duty foundation. It's labeled, it's supposed to be easy to put together. I can try, but I mean, at least I got that saved time if she's gonna have someone come and do it. I don't have anybody to ask, so it's on her. Has a cover, of course. It's not just that wood. So my leg's been feeling better. Yesterday, after I had napped a while, my leg was all stiff, and I was thinking there was something wrong, that they messed up. Like, it said if it gets worse, and to go to, the emergency or urgent care, blah, 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 whatever. But it did feel worse, but now it's starting to feel better. I'm just staying in on the weekend. Just would have offered to bring me to the grocery store. So my mom, wasn't feeling up to it, but neither am I. So I say we can make do until next weekend. We didn't need to go grocery shopping. Oh, I just so want that bed. It'd be nice to sleep in the bed at least a little bit before, I'm not living here anymore. There's so many valid reasons. These people around here make me sick. They really do. They just, especially in this day and age, I don't care where you live, you should not ever be so inclined to call the cops, okay? To send cops to somebody's door. You just shouldn't do it, period, okay? You shouldn't. Or to send cops to, I already told you guys, on a weekend night, I was out, not even around here, it was miles from here. I was out walking, and any person, if they heard me singing to my MP3 player, it would be brief. And it was 9 o'clock on a weekend night, 9 o'clock, and it would be brief. You'd hear me briefly, just briskly passing by your house, singing to my MP3 player. And I had to have the fucking cops pull up. Because somebody had called concerned. Yeah, bullshit. Someone had called because they had nothing better to do. Okay? They had nothing better to do. And since I was walking so fast, by the time the cops got to me, there's no way to even know where it had happened, because I walked quickly. The fact is, the shit that it just makes me sick, and it wouldn't happen. I know for a fact, because I've lived in different places, okay? It wouldn't happen other places. It's just ridiculous. You should not, particularly in this day, you should not be so quick to pick up the phone and call the cops, okay? Now, I want to tell you something. A few years ago, 2-3 years ago, these people moved in next door. They were having workers, contractors build a deck for them. It wasn't an outback deck, it was to the side deck, right outside my bedroom window. And these contractors were here, drilling loud. Even when you're not drilling, you're still with your comrades and you're still talking, whatever. 7 o'clock in the morning. Let that sink in. Drilling and whatnot, loud at 7 in the morning. I couldn't believe it. And I'm thinking to myself, but I'm not someone who's gonna complain, you understand? I'm not gonna complain. But I was thinking to myself, I'm surprised someone else doesn't complain. This is ridiculous that these people should be making this noise next door at 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay? There are people who walk around. I'm going to address you rationally, okay? Things cannot be perfect in this life, all right? You can try to be quiet, but there are people in this life who get up with their dogs and go outside and walk said dog, okay? You go out and walk your dog, say even at 5 in the morning. And you cannot control if your dog sees an animal or another person and starts barking up a storm and potentially wakes up somebody who may be sleeping, okay? And that somebody could even be me, right? Things cannot be perfectly quiet in this life, even during so-called times where they're supposed to be quiet. People can come home late from work or late from a bar or late from whatever, and someone could even and briefly make noise, not realizing it or not intentionally, or you could stub your toe and scream out and swear, and you know what I mean? You can't have perfection in this life, i.e. like quiet all the time, even during the times it's supposed to be quiet, okay? It's bullshit. It's bullshit, right? And let's sink in all of that, because I'm being rational here, including letting you know that was undeniable. 2-3 years ago, these people next door had workers come. No one said a word, and they did it every day. They were out there at 7 in the fucking morning. 7 in the morning, working, drilling. Okay? If I rack my brain over these years, I don't think it's the first time that I've heard loud noise that early in the morning. Okay? Now let that sink in. Look at that. Look how clean it is in here. It's a miracle. It took a long time. Those are the screws. I took so long to open this though. What if it's missing screws or something? You're not allowed to return it. And of course, if you're supposed to open stuff right away just in case you're missing shit. And I didn't do it. Everything's slow motion. Everything takes such tremendous energy for me. There's the bed. Will I ever get to sleep on it is the million-dollar question. And I washed these underwear in the lavender. It's supposed to be, kind of natural laundry detergent and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm not really liking the smell too much. There's the underwear. It's less underwear than it used to be. I've had to throw some away that have ripped. Must have been old and getting ready to rip, Got more over there, but... sensitive, Smell in the underwear, and I don't think I'm gonna like it when I'm sleeping. Anyhow, I'm starting to get a little bit of a headache. I stayed up all night, but I was productive. Maybe I should stay up all night. It's productive. Oh man, I'm in my blanket. Why am I? If I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep in the room at all. I slept out here. I didn't have any company or I didn't have anybody here. It's this Saturday. What the hell happened to my... pillow and comforter? Like, usually put them right there. Why would they not be out here? That's the question. I don't know how they went up in there. I don't. I just had them out. So anyway, things are not perfect in this life, including with this old blind dog, okay? And my elderly mother is also mentally ill. Things are not perfect. And we, just like I had to do when I broke my foot, right? Didn't have a choice. Have continued, not that I don't walk him too, but we've continued putting him out on the deck to go to the bathroom, and then you pick it up. You pick it up after. Hi, old man. Hi, old blind man. Your mom's old blind man, huh? Love my life, huh? You old blind man, huh? What's up? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do, huh? You want to go into this? Anyway, we don't care about that dick. I had a home inspector here who thought that the deck's not going to last much longer. We don't care about the deck, okay? We don't care about it. We don't entertain guests out there. It used to be that big umbrella thing, and, that's history, so. But Omar, Selena even noticed this one time when we were talking on the phone recently. She's like, what's that noise I hear? That's Omar. I've told you this before, he sounds like, when he's unhappy, he sounds like You're killing him. He sounds like whatever. But you know what? That's the way it is. You know, tough crap if that's how my dog sounds. Right? So I've trained my mom, I've told her. But again, you're dealing with my mom here. Enough said, okay? When we put Omar out on the deck early in the morning, the second he starts to cry, you gotta let him right back in. Don't let him crying up there. I've had to say to her before, even during the day, I don't want him crying. I said, Mom, the second he starts crying, you don't leave him out there crying. Let him right back in. Okay? When I was in the hospital, and she was distracted because I called her the next morning. I guess she had just put Omar out or whatever. Long story short, there was someone around here who didn't, but was going to call the police. And not because Omar woke her up, okay? You can't wake up somebody who's walking by your house, okay, and hears your dog whining and crying and automatically thinks the worst. When I ever heard that someone was going to call the fucking cops, you don't call the fucking cops on your neighbor. If a dog is like barking and left outside for a long time, I want you guys to understand this. This is not that situation. This is somebody walking by, hearing the weird sound Omar's making, and just automatically thinking the worst. And automatically thinking about calling the cops or calling animal control. It's like, this wouldn't happen anywhere else, people. It wouldn't. It wouldn't. Not, especially not the cops. You don't just call the cops on people and send them to your doorstep. My poor mom, if cops had come here, would have been friggin' traumatized. She also would have been nervous and flustered and tongue-tied. Like, the cops here because your dog's crying briefly. We're not even talking minutes. All right, she knows to let him in, but I vaguely recall talking to her from the hospital, and then I'm hearing Omar crying, and you know, my mom needs to understand, don't even answer the phone if you have Omar out there. Take care of him first, all right? But now I have to worry about my neighbors are going to call the cops if Omar's briefly crying or whining outside. And again, I made the point to you because it's rational. Everything can't be perfectly quiet. But this woman, it wasn't because she was woken up. It was because she took it upon herself to automatically assume that something must be wrong, that Omar's making that sound, okay? I.e. judging a situation and not seeing the dog, but simply hearing him. We found out after the fact that the only reason she didn't call the police is someone talked her out of it. Like, what the fuck? You're gonna call the police because my dog is briefly whining out on our... Briefly. Let me stress the briefly part, okay? Briefly. That makes me sick. Makes me sick, more inclined than ever to get the fuck away from these people. We're supposed to be in the United States, okay? Things happen. I can give you another example. You guys know I walk and I walk at night, right? I've walked at night before where you know there are people that have to be sleeping. These people, a lot of them go to bed so fucking early, okay? You know there's someone sleeping nearby. And the dog was out on the front of one of those runner things. And the dog is silent, probably being put out to go to the bathroom as long as no one's around. But I walked by and the dog started barking up a storm. You know damn well that dog had to have woken up somebody, one of their neighbors, okay? But they're not gonna call the cops. It's all focused. It's like a witch hunt on me, all right? It's not like, you have to understand, it's not like it's whining and crying, but it's brief, brief, brief. right? Sometimes he gets lost out on the deck. He forgets his bearings. We ought to get back to our door, even when we're calling him to come, okay? Unless I highly doubt that it's waking anybody up and when it's in the middle of winter and people's windows are closed. But the key point I'm making is that you can't wake up somebody walking by the house. So someone can make an excuse, oh well, it was early in the morning, yeah. But if that's not the reason you were gonna call the cops, it's because it sounded weird and you're automatically gonna think the worst of my mom and me. Okay. Oh, what was I gonna say? You know what I mean? It's like you can't wake up so walking by, so that's bullshit. Bullshit. There's a woman walking by and heard him, didn't see him, but heard him, and has nothing better to do, was gonna call the cops. And we find this out after the fact, and we have to consider ourselves lucky that the woman was talked out of it and didn't call the cops, didn't call animal control. The cops would be the worst. They'd come here, figuratively speaking, just being figurative, guns blaring, and automatically thinking blah, blah, blah. And my mom would be all flustered and nervous and in shock that the police were here over Omar briefly crying or whining out on the deck. And then I'm in the hospital. I had to come home to that. And then my mom was crying. I didn't mean it. I didn't do anything. I'm doing the best I know, Mom. Makes me sick. In my world, you just don't do that, okay? I wouldn't even have said anything about those workers there at 7 in the morning. I just sucked it up. They were my brand new neighbors, and sucked it up. But I thought it was very rude that they didn't make sure their contractors came later, wasn't here at 7 in the fucking morning, okay? I don't believe Omar's waking anyone up in the middle of winter and people have their windows closed. I think that can be made as an excuse, It's a fallacy, though. You can't wake up somebody. If the person who was going to call was walking by here, then you can't say that Omar was waking anyone up. She can use that as an excuse. Oh, well, it's early in the morning and he could be waking people up. But really, I found out it's because she was concerned for him. Just add it to the list. Why I just don't, can't breathe. I can't breathe. How'd you guys feel if you were me? It's like, come on. Things can happen. You can have good intentions, but when it comes to an animal, you don't fucking call the cops unless it's something where an animal is tied outside and just, barking a lot. You don't pick up the phone and call the cops because you briefly hear someone's dog crying and whining outside and you're so inclined to automatically think the worst. Which definitely makes me think that it's someone who knows us. Walk by me. Most of these people don't even offer a ride in the middle of rainstorms and blizzards. Don't even offer me a ride. It's so quick to friggin', sickening. Oh. Sickening to call the cops on somebody who's briefly walking by your house. If they're sitting there outside and screaming and yelling or throwing rocks, whatever, but briefly going by your house and you're going to call the cops. I mean, I'm sickened. I just don't belong around here. I just don't belong. It just wouldn't happen. It's just sickening. These people are so fucking quick in this, whatever, to call the fucking cops on someone. You know? What the fuck? Selena couldn't believe it. 9 o'clock at night on the weekend. I was singing probably Purpose of Pain for Start Strap or whatever, you know. And that's what the policeman who stopped me said. Someone was concerned for you. Yeah. Just like someone's concerned for Omar. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I hope my foot's off camera. Thank God. It was so scary. They going down in that gap. You see, I've seen it. It's hard to happen on the news to this woman. I think hers was in the regular MBT train. Mine was a commuter route, but still. My leg could have gone all the way down to the top. The conductor standing right beside me realized instantly what had happened and pulled me right back up before I